Welcome to the most surreal moment of our life, Factually Incorrect, episode 40. We promised it, and Scott, is that your real last name? Lazer is in the house.
In the house, what's up?
And we finally got him. Yeah, I met Scott in Columbia, South Carolina, at a film festival, which I realize now that you didn't submit your film to. It was just picked, right?
Yeah, Josh Yates, one of the programmers, hit me up and just asked if they could show it, and they hit me maybe a month or two later and said that they were going to do a short program. They picked the music video I did for J. Cole, Everybody Dies, and then they named the short program, which I think was like 6 or 7 great films. They named that program, the short program, Everybody Dies, and there was like kind of a mortality theme to all of them, which was tight. It was really cool.
Yeah, I remember those are some sweet fucking films. I loved that one.
That was a great film festival.
Yeah.
Indie Grits I was really blown away, man. That place, I definitely want to go back to that one.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Now, do you automatically win a film festival award when you submitted like a J. Cole video?
No.
Given?
No. You know, I definitely we didn't deserve to win anything in that. There was some, the video we did was super minimalistic, and I love it, but there were some like real films in there, and I think Josh knows the cinematographer I worked with on that project, Dante Lee, and they're mutual fans of one another. So I think he was just pumped to get some beautiful Dante images.
The only the only film I remember being like questioning of was that Wave iteration, if you remember it.
Oh yeah, the glitch one.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked it more the second, because I went to both. They had 2 screenings of it. I went to both of them, and the second time I watched that one, I liked it even more. First time I was kind of like, it's just like kind of a glitchy video, and then I watched it again, and it was pretty cool.
I felt like the audio mastering in that was kind of questionable. Like I remember being in the theater and watching multiple people just like grab their ears in the middle of that film.
In the glitch one?
Yeah.
It was weird. It was a weird little.
I love that one.
Film.
There's a tree in the forest who writes his own stories, like the Hispanic film about the 3 little brothers that go and try and find. The spirit of death.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was sweet.
I'm telling you, man. There were some really good ones, and then there was one from Mexico. I can't remember the director's name, but he had a really good one.
Are you talking about the one with the leukemia?
Yeah.
I sat next to him when I got in the theater. I sat down and I was there on an assignment and he was there also solo. And I started talking to him and he's like, "Oh yeah, my film's in the thing." And he told me it was called like Dim Blood, I think it was called.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, when you guys filmed the Everybody Gotta Die video, was that actually in Fayetteville? Or
that was in Fayetteville, yeah. So that was part of. All right, so for the last 6 months or so, we've used with J. Cole, we've used content that we've captured from many different places. Mm-hmm. In that music video, like I said, was shot by Dante, and Dante and I, with a few others, were shooting what became the HBO show while we shot, or when we shot the Everybody Dies video.
Yeah.
So that was 2 separate applications from the same shoot.
Yeah. And Everybody's Gotta Die was from Eyes, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So we put out, I think there were 3 uses for everything that we shot over the course of the last year or so. One was the Eyes documentary, which is Cole in Electric Lady's studio in Manhattan in the West Village. And then we threw in 2 music videos. One we shot in Queens while he was recording the album. Just, that was kind of one that we shot together, just the 2 of us. No production or anything. And then the other one was Everybody Dies, which we shot while we were shooting the HBO show.
So was the other one you're referring to False Prophets?
False Prophets, exactly. Yeah. so that we shot False Prophets in the summer. We shot Everybody Dies in the fall. The bulk of the Eyes documentary was shot kind of in between those. And then when we went on that trip, basically the way we shot the HBO show was we went on a 10-day road trip, essentially. We booked a tour bus. I hired a small crew, which included Dante and Tim Grant, who was also at that festival, and to produce it, and a couple of, an AC, a PA, just like people to kind of help do stuff. Mm-hmm. And we started in Fayetteville, drove through the South, ended in St. Louis, and just kind of like caught shit, Mm-hmm. Like we drive around and we picked cities that we wanted to go to, all of which are represented in the film. And we just, got out when we felt inspired, essentially.
Yeah, it felt a lot like the documentary you did with Boz as well. Sort of like
the Too High to Riot one.
Yeah, the whole intro is all about, we get out when we see something beautiful, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So because I was watching the For Your Eyes Only documentary the other day. So like the stories you guys would film, for example, like the woman in Baton Rouge with her house,
Mm-hmm.
Basically destroyed.
Yep.
How did you guys find those people? Like you were saying,
we
you
were
just
literally driving around. So in that particular day, I took like most of the crew in a Sprinter in Baton Rouge. And we wanted to find people who had been affected by the flood in Baton Rouge. A lot of people actually think it was a Katrina thing. The one was a Katrina. It was last year. It was like, it wasn't. Okay. Katrina was 2004.
2006.
It was 2006. Yeah. So it wasn't that long ago. It was Baton Rouge, which was hit by a really bad flood at the end of the summer last year.
Yeah.
And so we were driving around and, we did some research and found which parts of the city were most affected, and started driving around. We hit this turn. I saw Dorothy is her name. I saw her as we were driving. I just said, let's just stop and talk to her. She looks interesting. And sure enough, she was just a totally sweet woman with this incredible perspective. Despite, getting handed a pretty shitty deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the documentary is pretty, I would say heavy because so I watched it the other day and we're big J. Cole fans, obviously, and we've heard all the albums and For Your Eyes Only, but watching the documentary and then the music videos cutting in, right? And then you obviously, you get the song and then it goes to another story. I feel like that added a lot of perspective to the album.
Yeah.
When you listen to the album, you obviously, it's a concept album of a guy's life and this, that, and the other. But when it's with the documentary, it's like you get this emotional story and then all of a sudden it's like that song cuts in. And I remember watching it at night and I'm like, holy shit, you know what I mean? It's not just something you can easily just watch through and you're like, okay, cool, that was a cool documentary. It's something you kind of have to digest and listen to. And it was just, did you guys plan it to be very emotional and very intense like that?
I mean, I think the album, it all starts with the music, and the album is, I guess you could say, heavy, as you described. But so it needed to reflect that appropriately. But with everything that I try to do, I try to infuse some humor or levity into it.
Yeah.
Whether that's, Kevin in the motel, saying he doesn't want to nap, or he doesn't want to say he naps too much at his job since he'll be on camera.
Yeah.
Or even Mike Brown, Mike Brown's cousin, who pops up in Ferguson when we were there completely randomly, saying that he can't kick it with Cole for any longer because he's got to go to boxing practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one that blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because you're just I would kick it with you, but I got to hit practice. And I was like,
great.
what?
It's great. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
You're actually a big fan of boxing, Scott. Because I heard in an interview.
It sounds like no.
No, don't worry. I'm teaching you this about yourself. You said in an interview that you really liked watching the boxing lead up to the fight. When you were
the 24/7s.
Yeah, when you were filming the HBO miniseries, that was a huge influence for you.
For sure, absolutely. It was. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of boxing. Yeah. I'm probably more a fan of the 24/7s than I am of actual boxing. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, boxing's a classic sport, and that series was great. The one I remember the most memorable one for me was the Tyson Lennox Lewis one.
I'm not even cover the series.
The cover there's coverage of when that was the one where at the press conference Tyson bit Lennox Lewis's leg.
You start calling one of the guys in the crowd the F word.
I'll ask you. It was a legendary press conference. It was Tyson. In rare form.
Coked out of his mind.
Yeah. And anyway, I remember Lennox describing that experience, and it was really entertaining.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love that series.
Go ahead.
One of the things you do really, really well, and especially Eyes, I think, because it is such a kind of observation film, is that every time...
Surveillance.
Yeah, but every time you're a part of it, it feels like the camera is another person in the room, as opposed to just observing the room.
Okay, cool.
And one of the things that I think develops that is just your use of really long takes. Mm-hmm. And that's something that makes it feel like you settle into a scene. Like even the first scene in Eyes where Cole's walking into the studio, it feels like that could have been a quick 2-second scene, but it's 15-20 seconds, and it just feels like, okay, he's coming into our home as the people behind the camera. Let's see what he's doing. Or like when he's working with the live instrumentation, and him and a leader standing there, and he's like nudge the note to the left a little bit, and they're working it out. There's no cutting in that, and I love it because it just feels so natural. But it feels like you're one of his homies sitting on the couch there, like watching him do his work, as opposed to someone that's like, another documentary where you might be observing something that's happening, as opposed to being in a part of the moment, which is something that I think is so cool about your documentaries. Because one of the things that I think makes J. Cole such an admirable artist is how personable he is. I always feel like your documentaries add on to that sort of personability. Like he's allowing us to kind of come into his home for a little bit. It's always something you've really achieved well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, with Eyes, it was, I'm glad you feel that way. I wanted that to feel kind of like an immersive experience, to almost feel like you're there. I actually had an idea of doing it as like a VR film, because I've always kind of wanted to do something with VR, and I thought maybe that would be a good reason to do it. Yeah. But as I was, Electric Lady is such a gorgeous and legendary studio. It's Jimi Hendrix's former studio. And he would be all over the place, and everywhere he'd go, whether he was playing bass or on the couch, recording someone or writing or whatever, in the mixing room, it was just so beautiful, and every frame started to kind of look like a photograph to me.
Yeah.
So it was more important for me to actually frame the image than do a VR thing, which probably would have been cool too.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, and the other thing too about the long shots is I really, to be honest, got that working with Cole. The first thing the first thing we ever edited together, and the first music video I did for him was for his song Apparently, off Forest Hills Drive. Legendary. And I did a cut of that. We shot that in Atlanta, and I was on the road with him on his press tour for Forest Hills Drive. And I remember we were in London, and I was editing in my hotel room, and eventually we linked up at a diner, and I showed him a cut, and it was really cutty. Like we had like a lot more. I don't know if you guys have seen that video, but like that.
Oh yeah.
We had a lot more looks for that video. we shot a lot more looks for that video than what's in there.
Yeah.
And it was super cutty and it was kind of all over the place. And I was, my first things that I did as a filmmaker was editing. So I like to cut, and so I showed it to him and he was not fucking with it. And mind you, this was like the first thing I'd ever really presented to the guy. I just started working with him. So I'm super nervous. And I was like, what do you want to do? And he was just like, I said I would sit there and edit it with him as long as he wanted until he was cool with it,
Mm-hmm.
And he was down. We stayed up mad late, and one of the biggest note that he had was just make that longer, man.
Yeah.
Like, they're great shots. Like, trust the shot. I remember he said trust the shots, and I was like, what the bro, you're a rapper.
Yeah. Like, even the scene where he's after,
you're not, that's crazy that you're telling me, giving me great film notes,
even
editorial notes.
Even
next time, when he's in the studio next time, you just give him a fire bar. Be like, there you go, you're welcome. Take you back.
You're blessed now.
That's a
like,
but that just speaks to his creativity. He really is he's a monster when it comes to creativity, and he's so fucking disciplined. It's insane. I've never seen anybody like it.
Well, even in like this beginning of the second verse, when he's like in that long neck long sweater, and he's like, got two bitches playing on my trombone, keep up.
And apparently
yeah, I mean, even that shot
angle
is like 15 seconds long, and that's huge for a music video.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I was going to point that out with the Everybody Dies video, right? Because it's one long
shot.
take.
It's technically two, but it's basically one long shot. There's a cut at the very end.
Yeah, but because it's like regular music videos, it's like I feel like music videos are the most ADD form of watching films, because it's always, snap, 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 different shots, and which is cool for music videos. But that was so different to me, because it was cool because it felt like North Carolina, and then he had the Fayetteville State jersey on, so I was like, okay,
little army sticker on the corner of the window there.
And it's funny because people down south. I've seen people ride in the back of trucks all the fucking time. So it's funny because it was like, it just felt like you're down south, and like the colors were so vivid and nice. Mm-hmm. So were you the one who did the coloring, or was that someone else's idea that they put in?
We Cole and I started experimenting with that. It's what it essentially is, just a flipped color hue.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a color, like a color wheel, and you can just turn the hue of the picture. And that just turns, you can go red to green, green to red, stuff. It just makes things look sort of otherworldly.
Yeah.
And the first time we experimented with that was on the intro video for Forest Hills Drive, we did that same night that I was telling you about that Apparently video. Like, we did that, and I think it was the first time he'd ever edited with anyone, and he was really excited about it. And he was like, "Man, what else can we do? Like, I'll give you another song. Let's just like make another video." And I was like, all right, yeah. And mind you, this is at like 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah,
in London. Right?
Yeah, and like in a hotel room now, because the diner had closed. We went back to the hotel, and so I had shot him riding his bike, leaving the studio in New York, maybe a few days earlier. So he gave me the intro, MP3 or WAV file or whatever, and I just cut one shot into the music, in a timeline. I just put one shot of him riding the bike at night
in New York, right?
In New York into the sequence, and it immediately looked great. It was like, it felt cool. So we were just messing around with that, and then we flipped the hue. Mm-hmm. I showed him, I was just fucking around, and I guess I kind of flipped the hue, and he was like, "Oh, what did you just do there?" And I was like, "I don't know," and I did it again, and we found a color balance that looks interesting to us, and that was the first time. So we've been doing that for a few things, and it's in the HBO film. It's also kind of in Well, no, it is in the Eyes documentary with False Prophets and Everybody Dies. The difference with Everybody Dies was what we did in that one. We flipped the color, and then David Torsivia, who is a colorist that I work with closely in Brooklyn, he turned the hue and then isolated Cole's skin tone and normalized that. So
he looks real in the fake.
He looks real in this. Yeah, exactly. And it's just more, it just kind of adds to the sort of hero look, looking up at him with all this like motion going on behind him and
the trees and stuff.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, it's unsafe what he's doing,
Yeah. Especially because y'all didn't know him, too. The guy that was driving the truck at all. I thought that story was interesting because you didn't know who that guy was.
At all. Nope. He was, we were shooting something else, and he drove around. I saw him. He drove around once real slow, like just looking, because, we had like boom mic out and a bunch of people walking around. And he just like drove around slowly. And I saw him, and then he clearly made the block and drove around again.
Yeah. You thought you were about to get lit up?
Yes. Yeah. The second time he drove around, I went out to him, and I was like, do you mind if we shoot something in your truck? And he was like, yeah, sure. I'm not really doing anything.
I'm just peeping.
Creeping around.
Yeah, he's just some like sweet old man.
Yeah. Did he know who J. Cole was at all?
I don't think so.
I feel like you can't contain, because J. Cole makes his way around our town, because we used to live in Cary, and like he'd show up at our like Lifetime to play basketball,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
For those people that don't know, because you're from North Carolina as well, aren't you, Scott? Or at least you have some past there.
I finished high school in North Carolina. I grew up in New Orleans, and then I moved to Charlotte when I was 14.
Yeah, and so J. Cole is like a figure in the state, and if you're in the east side of the state, like
absolutely.
Him and Zach Galifianakis, like you'll just see them,
Yeah.
Oh man, I haven't seen Galifianakis out, man. I would love to meet.
Yeah, apparently he's in Nashville all the time.
Man.
Well, what's bullshit is because I still live in Cary, right? So I go to school near here, and like all of my friends have met J. Cole, right? Like they'll just be like, "Oh shit, you should have been playing basketball today," like picture, and I'm just like, middle fingers up. I'm like, "Fuck you guys," but what I was gonna say about harkening back to the Eyes documentary, I thought the most beautiful part of that was the bike ride home, right? Like with the intro playing, but it was when J. Cole was talking to, was it Elite in the studio, and Ibrahim was like sleeping on the couch and he was snoring, and
he's talking at the very end.
Yeah, at the very end.
Yeah, he's talking to Mez, his engineer. Yeah.
Okay, Mez. So he's talking to him, and then they're talking about homeboy snoring, and Cole's just sitting up on the counter or whatever, and is like, it's like a shoe off, and he's just kicking it, and they're like, "Man, you snore," and just having this conversation about like, how does his girl sleep with him? Like, I guess she just loves him so much. Right. And like what Christian was saying, it seems like you're sitting on a couch and it's late at night, and you're just chilling and you're just watching this interaction. And then I felt like the bike ride home was just like the perfect ending to like a late night, and it really brought you into the moment and like immersed you into it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that was definitely the intention.
So do you feel like it's harder to work with artists? Because like you say, J. Cole is an artist through and through, and he's like got criteria that he wants his videos to meet, and he's got suggestions and stuff. And obviously, when people think of a documentary, there are a million avenues a documentary can take, right? And so we might have a documentary that's more like that Black Water film that we saw at the film festival, where it's just an observation of some lake, essentially. And then
I love that, by the
that
way.
was a good film, actually. It was eerie as all hell. I remember thinking something was going to happen during the entire film, but alas. But with
also
working,
in the Everybody Dies short program.
Yeah, also in the Everybody Dies. But when you're working with an artist like J. Cole and he has so much input, I'm sure that a lot of it feels really helpful. And sometimes there's probably a moment where you're like, yeah, all right, man, you stick to rapping like a little bit.
Well, first off, in addition to being a collaborator, he is my client. So ultimately, what he says goes.
Yeah.
But he listens to me a lot. And one thing that might have been sort of a counter to something that he wanted to do was, like, for instance, he loves that flipped color thing. And I think if he'd done the film without me, he may have done the whole film like that, you know?
Yeah.
And one of the things I said, and I'm sorry, I'm talking about the
For Your Eyes Only.
For Your Eyes Only, you know, do the whole film in that color, you know, crazy color treatment. And so what I said to him was, let's pick specific parts to do that in, but this footage looks great, man. Let's not let's not make it too wacky, you know. And it needs to have some it needs to be steeped in realism, you know.
Yeah.
And it can't be surreal the whole time, because it's about real shit going on.
Yeah.
And actual real people just like telling us about what's going on in their lives.
Yeah. As Neil deGrasse Tyson would say, it's like, get your facts straight and then alter them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's like, you know, that's usually how we work. I mean, I honestly can't think of an instance where I was like, no, man, we really need to do this this way. And he was like, no, we're not going to do it that way. Like, I honestly can't think of an instance like that. He's a very open collaborator. And I think, from what I understand, because, you know, I started working with him when I came out here. You know, I was introduced to him, and I think I kind of caught him when he had opened up a little bit more about his creative. Like, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't around to see, you know, because I wasn't there. But it seems like, you know, at some point in his career, he became more open to collaborating, because he's done everything himself. You know, if you look at his
mixtapes and all that.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, it's all produced by him.
He produces all of it, and, you know, writes all of it, and, you know, he's very kind of
like he sees the vision, you know.
Yeah, and I think it was a trust thing, you know. A lot of the people that he works with are the same people he's worked with since the very beginning.
Yeah,
creatively, especially.
So you started working with him, like we said, with the Apparently video. So after 2014 Forest Hills Drive was recorded, correct?
What?
Yeah, pretty much. I got an assignment to shoot him in New York as he was finishing the album. He was like doing the final touches on it, you know.
Didn't you originally cut a trailer for an album tour, and that was what you introduced yourself to him with?
No, I had he got me to cut he got me to cut, that's what it was. I cut the Forest Hills Drive album trailer, which is this like kind of weird 7-minute experimental thing we did. And I think that's why he wanted to work with me, was because he really fucked with that trailer.
So how did that come about? Who makes the call? Like, do you cut this and then call him and say, "Look, I'm a big fan"?
It was through a post house. So I was working at a post house. I got an assignment through them, and then, you know, they asked if I could shoot, and I was like, yeah, sure.
And then then you got poached by Dreamville. Not the worst gig in the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you're the in-house producer for everybody now.
Yeah, my title is Director of Video Production for Dreamville.
So what is like a day in that position like? I'm sure no two are alike, but you obviously do a lot of you do like, so the first couple documentaries you filmed for J. Cole. The first couple things you filmed for J. Cole was just you. Like, you were directing, filming, editing.
Yeah.
You know? So, but now obviously you had a team on, like a little bit of a team on some of the more recent stuff.
Yeah.
So now are you sort of moving into that, you know, sort of an overlordish position, or are you still behind the camera framing up shots? And
I like to shoot. I feel I enjoy it. And I definitely want to continue doing it, even if it's just like, you know, photography or personal, you know, just things that personally interest me. But I definitely like working with bigger crews.
Yeah.
If for nothing else, just being able to have somebody else to bounce ideas off that's invested in the project with you, you know?
Yeah, one of the things I think so interesting about film is that like you're still only filming. Well, I think I don't know if this is true, but it feels like a lot of the stuff you film is a one camera sort of film. You don't have multiple takes. You're not cutting in between multiple angles and stuff. And so at the end of the day, there is still just one camera filming a scene. So getting a bigger crew doesn't necessarily produce more output. It just changes the quality of it, you know?
Yeah, and there are definitely some things that are better suited, especially in the documentary world, that are better suited to fewer camera operators, if possible, only one. You know, in intimate things, literally small spaces, where if you have more people, it's just going to kind of fuck up the vibe.
Yeah.
And the person that you're trying to get a story from is going to feel apprehensive about giving it to you, you know? So that's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, like in the beginning of Boz's documentary, someone takes, I guess, a photo of you filming them in front of that big landscape, and the photo reveals that it's literally just you standing behind the camera. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I love that documentary is really special to me because I literally did pretty much everything. Like I shot most of that. I had the Super 8 on that. I cut that the whole thing. The only other person who helped me was Nick Stark, who shot the first few days of that tour and helped with the graphics. But like I did the color on that bitch. I fucking mixed that motherfucker. Like I did that was a very like hand. It was really handmade, you know, film.
You're the Dr. Dre of Too High to Riot.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
what a title
on the visual side.
So were you a fan of J. Cole? Like, did you know of?
Yeah,
obviously, I'm sure you heard his name, but like, were you? Because Christian has told me from you guys' conversation at the Indie Grits Festival that you're balls deep in music, as they would say.
Yeah, as they would say.
So were you a big fan? Like when you got the call, were you like, oh shit, hell yeah?
Oh yeah, for sure, hell yeah, yeah, definitely. I started listening to Cole, I think after. Yeah, it was like Friday Night Lights era. That's when I first started.
You were in there in the beginning, pretty much.
I mean, I guess
there's just a couple mixtapes pre.
Yeah, I wasn't heavy into him. I really didn't probably start getting heavy into him until like Born Sinner.
Yeah,
when he's like, I honestly think like Power Trip was the one that I was like, oh shit, this guy's like really
We
good.
were just talking about like how do you introduce yourself to J. Cole and make an impression? And I was like, you walk towards him and then you stumble halfway there and then you're like, sorry Jay, I just had to step over piranhas. and then he looks at you and just turns you down and he walks away. But yeah, no,
you gotta quote a line. You gotta quote a line and let him know what's up.
Somebody does that to him someday, man. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, but
or if you're like a pizza man, you're like, I'm glad you didn't make me wait. You know, you references no role models. You're like, thank you.
Yeah.
That's one request I do have. If I'm gonna put in the favorite request, I need a no role models video. That's like the most hyped J. Cole track of all time. And
music video?
Yeah, that's the shit.
Yeah.
No Role Models is one of the weirdest tracks I've ever connected to. And this is one of the things that's about J. Cole to me is that cool is...
Yeah, stop messing with those LA hoes.
Yeah, I know, because it's like that track has nothing to do with my life. You know, like we talked about how like on this show we do an album review at the end of every podcast. And one of the things we laid out in the beginning of the show was what would our 10 be? Because we're not going to give 10s to everything, right? And my 10s, and we agreed on this one. One of our 10s was 2014 Forest Hills Drives. And this was like 40 weeks ago, right? And my other 10 was Graduation. And for some reason, I can't help it but connect to those. And No Role Models, nothing to do with me. Other than that, I liked Fresh Prince of Bel-Air growing up. And the Uncle Phil reference hit me, and then the song was sold, and that was pretty much it. But I remember when the album came out, Alex and I gathered around in my little study in my parents' house and listened to the album with like the subwoofers going and everything like that. And that song was just like the perfect mood switch up for the album, and we loved it. But yeah, that is probably one of my favorite songs of his. And I don't know what it is about that song, but something so easy to connect with in that song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great song.
So, do you ever feel like you want to step? You said, some more experimental stuff was sort of how you began with Cole, like a 7-minute, a little bit more experimental, and everything else has been pretty grounded in reality, except for the one exception being like that Boz video where he's kind of floating.
Yeah.
Do you ever? So I was watching Apparently again. By the way, you have some insane magnitude of views on that video alone than we have on our entire body of work, but.
I know that video is crazy.
It's like 86 million now or something.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And
so wild.
Why would you even compare the two?
Because
they're not even.
We gotta humble ourselves, man. We can't just sit here and pretend like.
No, but like it's not like we're at 85 million. It's like 86 million and like some minuscule number.
Yeah, no, it's some magnitude that like a special math operator was created for in order to find the equation. But so a lot of the videos have been awfully grounded in reality. And one of the videos I watched on that day, just like watching music videos, not like was Goosebumps, the Travis Scott video. Are you familiar with the Goosebumps the video?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
So that's one of the most experimental rap videos I've seen in a while. Unless you, I guess maybe some Death Grip stuff could be maybe more experimental if you even want to call them a rap group, that kind of thing. But like that's to the border of experimental, really. That and kind of a little bit of the Humble video is a bit experimental, which I think is an awfully cool video. But you ever want to maybe shift towards something like that in the future, just to see if you could do it, or any interest in that kind of work?
You mean like more experimental music videos?
Yeah, I guess kind of, or not necessarily music videos, but I feel like what your films are really crafted in the shots and sort of the scenes you capture, and that's what makes your films so special. And I feel like a music video like Goosebumps is made so special in the editing room,
Yeah, well, and visual effects. There's in both those videos, Humble and Goosebumps, there are pretty substantial amount of visual effects going on. I mean, that's something that I definitely want to do more of. The Clouds Never Get Old video I did with Boss is definitely like that. Also, the Ricochet video I did with Boss is in that same kind of, I guess, more imaginative, less documentary, capturing the scene type of projects.
Because some of the shots in that are, bird's eye shots almost. Some of them are kind of, the framing in some of that shot is sort of unique.
And which one?
I'm thinking of the that Boz track with that the duo.
Clouds Never Get Old?
Yeah. No, not Clouds Never Get Old.
Yeah. Ricochet. Yep.
So, from the Vibe interview you did, I believe it was post 2014 Forest Hills Drive doc. You said that you wanted to work with Rihanna, I believe.
Yeah.
And there was another. Good try.
10s are better. Rihanna.
Yeah, Rihanna. And then I think there's another name on there that I can't remember quite at the moment. But have you had a chance to work with any other like artists that you were like, damn, I need to work with this dude since that article was written?
I got a couple that I'm working on. Well, I've got one really that I'm working on. I should probably keep it close to the
vest.
We yesterday had that exact feeling where it's like, we should not announce things. So we totally understand.
But I definitely want to. I mean,
Yeah.
So working with Cole and all the Dreamville artists is really great, and it's the people that are associated with it are wonderful, and the work I get to do with them is the type of stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
But I'm always open to doing other things, and I'm definitely excited to do some more of that. I've done some in the last, before I was working with these guys, I had, usually 6 or 7 clients at any given time that I was kind of fielding,
Yeah.
And now it's sort of all pretty much
Dreamville.
Yeah. Which is cool. It's a different experience, different set of skills, and like I said, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that kind of allows you to kind of focus more on one product rather than
definitely. Yeah, I've always kind of wanted that too. It's exciting to like work on a bunch of different things, as like a freelancer or whatever. But I do find that my best work comes when can just kind of focus on one thing, and kind of steep in it and think about it and just like live in it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of ideas will come when I just am taking a walk or taking a shower or, and that's just like letting the shit bake out,
Mm-hmm.
So besides being the Martin Scorsese of music video production, what else do you do? Like on your regular day, like you're saying you're out west right now, so I assume out in California. Like, when I ask you where you're staying, don't give me your address, but where, like, are you in LA?
Yeah, I'm in Koreatown.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, just south of Hollywood.
So what's a day in leisure for Scott?
In leisure, in LA, I love to go to the Huntington Gardens. Mm-hmm. I love nature shit, man.
Yeah.
Anything outside, I'm down with it.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at your picture right now, you're in front of a beach. We had to creep on all your shit, so we checked your Instagram out.
Which picture?
Your Skype one, even right now. That we're all.
Oh yeah. That's in Charleston.
Yeah.
My little sister took that picture of me.
And then on your Instagram, constantly out hiking, nature. It seems to be a pretty genuine interest for you.
I definitely love nature. I kind of fell in love recently. A couple years ago, there was a JMW Turner exhibit. Mm-hmm. He's a famous landscape, one of the masters. Yeah. I can't remember what period he was, but there was a huge show of his at the Getty, mm-hmm. in I guess that's Bel Air here, mm-hmm. which is also beautiful, just incredible. Like, the thing about California also is so much of it is just astounding looking, even in LA. Yeah. And the Getty is one of those places. Shout out the Getty. Not that they need it.
Yeah, shout out Getty. I also want to give a big shout out to LeBron while we're here.
Yeah. I just if I could just get free entry there forever, that'd be great. But I got really into landscapes there, and there was also a Hudson River Valley show at the LACMA here. Museum here.
The great old LACMA. Have you been there?
Oh yeah, many times. Yeah.
Are you
museums?
A fan?
Definitely like museums as well. The LACMA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. Like I said, I saw that Hudson River Valley School show, which was also landscapes and incredible. There was a really great what's his name? The photographer.
I've got two landscape artists, Scott. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know Thomas Cole.
Yeah, he was one of the Hudson River. He was there. He was at the LACMA. A lot of his stuff.
Yeah, in his 4-piece work, the youth, young adulthood, and death, or whatever the 4-piece. I saw his stuff in DC at the East Building of Art down there. Uh-huh. Yeah, and that's my one. And then there's another Thomas. I went to a museum with my girlfriend recently, and we checked out some landscape work, and like the American. Yeah. I only know 2 American landscapers, and that's it. So. Yeah. No, they're incredible, man. Yeah. That shit is incredible, and that's definitely reflected in that Ricochet video. Mm-hmm. We shot that in Palos Verdes, which is one of my like also special places in LA. Mm-hmm. It's in the South Bay area, and it's just unreal, man. Yeah, just gorgeous.
I have a problem with LACMA in one sense. So I've been there before, obviously. And
you say obviously. Scott doesn't know that you're from California.
Yo, you're from California? Cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forget people don't. Yeah, I grew up in Anaheim.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I've been to LACMA, and like I like art and shit, but like
I like art and shit.
They had a clear box there one time. Have you seen it? It's like a plexiglass box in like the middle of the room. it doesn't matter. It's not noticeable.
Yeah.
It's like a cube clear box, and I was like talking to someone there about it, and they're like, "Isn't it beautiful?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, it's a box." And they're like, "Can't you just a bunch of dumb shit of like, can't you imagine like, it's representative of," I forget some shit they were saying. But I don't know. For some reason, LACMA rubs me the wrong way. Like, I like a lot of the exhibits there, but I guess I'm more of a fan of like classic art. Like the paintings and because we have a great art museum here in Raleigh, and like they had like Rodin.
Yeah,
they say his name here. A bunch of great sculptures.
Yeah.
And like sarcophaguses from Egypt and stuff like that. I think
you're talking about the North Carolina Museum of Art.
Yeah, North Carolina Museum of Art in Raleigh.
That's a beautiful museum. Yeah. They have a big Rodin a bunch of great sculptures.
Yeah.
So, if you had to,
yeah, man, LACMA's good. You should go back.
Yeah, I know I am, because I'm going to be there July 25th to August 13th. I'm going back to visit.
Yeah, so. There's a permanent James Turrell exhibit there that's great. There's a big Richard Serra piece. There's some lights that it's Robert Irwin does these like assortment of lights that are gorgeous on a wall. Yeah, there's stuff there that's like always there, and then the new stuff is, or the stuff they rotate is sometimes hit or miss, but sometimes it's really good.
Yeah, you're influenced a bit by light, huh? Because the apparently music video played on light a ton.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's crazy how something so simple can be so interesting.
Yeah.
So
are you permanent now to California, or is it just kind of a rotating thing of back and forth?
I'm back and forth a lot. I'm gonna be on the road for a lot of this year, and when I'm not on the road, I'll probably be more on the East Coast this year.
And is that you obviously don't have to. Is Dreamville actually a Fayetteville based, or because I know that on the Wikipedia it's like they're all over the place essentially is sort of the thing.
Yeah, they definitely are. And that's, another great perk of working with these guys is I don't really have to be any one place. So, if I want to spend some time with my girl in New York for a few weeks, I can do that. And then be in North Carolina with my family. I got my laptop. I got the hard drives.
You're good to go.
That's all you need.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So is your girl a fan of you traveling, or is she more want you to be where she is at the moment?
Oh, she just loves when he's gone. I mean,
I mean, like, is she like? Because I don't know. I've met some girls that are not okay. Obviously, they're not like happy that you leave, but are very like they need you there a lot.
My girl's real needy. What are these questions?
I just thought about that. What you snitch on yourself?
Yeah, could you just snitch on us, Scott? Also, we're gonna need to know who you're working with now.
Yeah. Let me get that social. So I wanted to ask, because obviously we did our research, went on your LinkedIn page, and you went to Rutgers. And you graduated with a BA in journalism.
I still have a LinkedIn page. I need to look at that.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's funny. Yeah,
it's fine. Cool. I wanted to get some inside info.
Yeah.
So what made you want to go to school for journalism? Like, was this like you had in your mind, like, I'm going to be a video producer?
No, I actually did a print, because they had 2 tracks. They had a broadcast journalism and print journalism. I opted for print journalism, and I think there was definitely a period where I thought I wanted to be a journalist. And in a sense, there's still, that's still part of what I do.
Yeah. In the sense of reporting on a moment, it's absolutely what you do with documentaries.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, in the documentary stuff that I do, that's like very much part of it. I think I just, I always love music videos too. And art, just like expression, not just the sort of documentation of history, but contributing to it as well.
Yeah.
And so what's great about the work that I get to do is with music videos, and as evidence in some of those Boss videos and even some of the stuff I've done with Kaz, it gives me the opportunity to get better at production, and because these music videos, you know, they turn over pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I can get good at knowing the language of different departments and communicating the vision that I have in my head effectively with many different people of many different disciplines. Whereas on the documentary side, I'm getting even better at long form storytelling. And, you know, I definitely have ambitions of making feature films outside of music, you know, and, you know, things that I'm personally interested in, stories that I want to tell.
And do you think these would be narrative stuff, or would this be documentary style, or?
I think I hope I always do both, you know. I'm inspired to do both. What's interesting also about being a filmmaker is having different applications for your craft.
Certainly, yeah.
Whether it's a documentary, a music video, a narrative film, an experimental film, a commercial, an Instagram video, you know what I mean? Like it really runs the gamut in terms of what you can use it for. And it's exciting to try those different modes out, you know?
So, Scott, we've gotten through
Yeah.
the history, the work, all that stuff. If you had to put us on one up-and-comer in hip-hop, and it can't be JID, and they're up-and-coming, and you had to put us on one, who would it be? Super on the spot.
I'm trying to think. I actually, you know, all right, I'll say this one. He's not I guess he's kind of a rapper. But y'all know Buddy?
No.
From he's from LA.
No, never heard of Buddy.
He just dropped what's the name of this? It's Ocean in Montana. It's a 5-song EP. That he just put out maybe a week or two ago. And there's one song in particular that's great on it called Guillotine. But the whole project is pretty tight.
We might be outsourcing our next album review, by the way, just for a disclaimer.
That's just what that was.
Just for a disclaimer.
Just making the work easy on us. Okay, so who's your... Yeah. So I have to ask this question because obviously you've been around some great musicians. Top 5 alive rappers right now, not dead, because you know dead. I asked Christian this last week. People are automatically usually throw Tupac and Biggie in that conversation.
Yeah,
want to free up 2 spots. So who do you have top 5 right now, or you know, or any musician if you're you're fucking with anything else?
Top 5 hip hop artists.
Yeah, I mean you have to put J. Cole at 1 so you keep your job, right? Is that not?
Nah, I wouldn't put Cole in my top 5.
It's constituent.
I mean he's great, but it's just, you know, I grew up on. So I think my top 5 will always be definitely Biggie, definitely Eminem,
Respect.
Definitely Andre 3000. Definitely Jay-Z.
Okay.
And definitely Lauryn Hill.
Oh,
that's
man.
my top 5.
I was really expecting like a Wu-Tang out of you just then.
I love Wu-Tang, but I'm not like really into them like that. Was
it the miseducation that kind of did it for you with Lauryn Hill?
Of course. Well, and the Fugees, you know.
Yeah, Fugees obviously classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
I have an unpopular opinion, and I think Jay-Z's a great artist, but I've always thought he was overrated. But
oh man, no way.
Well, see, this is my problem, and I preface this with saying that I've heard Blueprint, I've heard the Black Album, great albums. I've never heard Reasonable Doubt, so I always tell people that I've never heard the first one. So
you've never listened to Reasonable Doubt?
Oh boy,
no, I know.
Oh man,
I know you're not. I'm not a true hip hop head, I guess. Apparently,
I mean, no, it's. I mean, you just can't have a whole view on Jay-Z without, because like I feel like Reasonable Doubt is unique in his discography. None of the other albums is he rapping like he is on Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah. The Black Album is probably my favorite Jay-Z album, though.
I would probably agree with that. Yeah. I love that album.
Yeah, Moment of Clarity is like...
Yeah, 99 Problems, Allure, fucking Lucifer. Oh my God.
In the morning. Yeah. My big unpopular one, and I'm glad you kind of vibe with me on this, is that I think Biggie was better than Tupac.
I mean, look, I think Tupac is great. I just never really listened to Tupac like that.
Yeah.
Biggie, like, blew me away. I was just like, how, this is incredible. Like, the intricacy, like, how of his rhymes are so, they're like breathtaking,
Yeah, I remember hearing
he's incredible. He's an incredible rhyme, like,
Yeah.
rhythmist, and rhymer.
I remember hearing Kick in the Door like way after the fact and being like, dude, this slaps today. What?
Oh my God.
This is still so hard. This is still like an incredible story, and like, yeah. No, I've always felt that way. And Miss California over here, like, always giving me shit for liking Biggie more than Tupac.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, some people, Pac hit much harder than Biggie.
I mean, I think Biggie's a great artist, obviously, and I think his lyricism is a lot better than Pac's. Growing up, like my dad. So my dad was born in '74, so he was 16 in 1990. So like that's kind of the music that he grew up listening to, like Tupac and he
was. As a figure, I totally get it. Like Pac is beyond legendary. Legendary, like, is understating it.
Yeah, well, I think his emotion was what. I like in his music, like the way he conveys what he's feeling is super powerful. Where like I do agree though, Biggie's lyricism is like, and flow, I think is a lot better.
Much like more technical. And I think that's what I was drawn to him, was just how technical his raps were.
Yeah, like it's very.
And of course, his beats were incredible. Like Puff was. I remember Jay-Z saying in an interview one time that people forget how great of a producer Puffy is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and, especially at the time.
Yeah, that era of that sound of that era was like, that was his lane, and he was the best at it.
It's kind of like your dad grew up, Alex, in like the time period where we grew up, in the same way that I think our generation will look more fondly on Kanye than Drake, and one generation below us will have the inverse opinion on that. Except for you, of course,
Lil Wayne,
because you're also a Drake nut hugger.
This guy, he's such a hater, man. I don't know. He hates on Drake so much.
I don't hate on Drake. Yeah. I just we did More Life, right? What'd you think about More Life, Scott?
I thought there were some amazing songs on it.
Are you into or over the passion fruit sound at this point?
I literally was so inspired by passion fruit that I just on the way back to LA from New York the other day, I wrote a treatment for it.
Oh wow. So that answers that.
If that answers your question.
Oh yeah, that does.
Yeah.
I love that shit, man.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so cool.
So are you like into like girl talk then, in that case? That sort of vibe?
Girl talk is like mashup.
Yeah,
right?
girl talk is like mashup, but they've always been more of like, when I think of passion fruit, like obviously you think of the sort of higher pitched instrumentals and it being very Caribbean sounding. But what I think about with those tracks, like One Dance, and it's one of those things where you begin the song and you can sort of fade out and just let the song play, that kind of thing. And I've always felt like girl talk was sort of like, you play the song and you just let it set in, like when you're hearing like a Beyonce Gorillaz mashup or whatever, and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, you get the song immediately and then you just kind of let it play, and I've always felt that sort of vibe. Or like a Rat-a-tat maybe is probably a better example. Like,
I like Rat-a-tat.
You listen to Loud Pipes and it's like, all right, you get it immediately and you can just let it play.
Well, I liked More Life. Well, not to lie, it's my least favorite Drake album because I like Drake a lot. But the More Life felt like it was a little too long. You know, I felt like a lot of the tracks could have been concise. And I mean, he has some great tracks on there, like Gyalchester, the one where he's flexing on everybody. The Ice Blue Mink, that's my shit. But
I like Get It Together. Get It Together is my favorite.
Get It Together's popping.
Want Black Coffee.
We really liked. I don't know. This is an unpopular opinion out of us, which was that we really liked the Drake Young Thug 2 Chainz Sacrifices track.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love that song. That is a good one.
Yeah. It was cool to hear Young
Fake
Thug.
Love, you know?
Oh, obviously.
That's an incredible song.
Yeah.
That's one that might be my favorite Drake song ever right now.
Yeah.
Ooh, I feel like they should have put Sneakin' on there with 21. I thought that was, you know, the Drake dropped 3 singles before More Life. But in my opinion, I thought Views was better. Like, I know it's hard to compare different projects, different feels, but, you know, it went from like Views was still a long album, but this one was like 22 or 24 tracks, and it just wasn't as memorable in my opinion. And the instrumentation was a lot more, you know, drum heavy, whereas, you know, other albums it's been more atmospheric and you get more melody.
That's something that we've praised J. Cole for nailing, which is just the concise album. Get the message and go kind of thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think If You're Reading This Is Too Late is my favorite Drake, you know?
I think that's probably my favorite Drake album too. Yeah.
Because I think that's when I think he embraces the commercial Drake in that one.
It's Atlanta, you know. It's trapped out, and it's like it's just great.
Yeah. I'm a Nothing Was the Same guy.
Nothing was the same. I mean,
I think
truth is that they're all good, man. I saw some news update said that Drake had a song on the top 100 for the last 8 years.
Dude, yeah.
I
was just thinking
that's insane.
I was thinking about like who can you even compare, you know? And you know who I came up with? No. There's an unlikely figure hidden that you're not thinking of that you could compare in a weird way.
Taylor Swift.
Jay-Z.
It's either here's my dark horse in the race, and I don't know the numbers behind it, but I think if you look, I think Justin Bieber might actually have some track record to compete with.
Oh, that's not even fair though, because like I feel like when you're a heartthrob, you know,
and he's pop too. I mean, Drake's still hip hop.
Oh, I mean, if you're going hip hop, then no one matches Drake's streak.
Yeah. Maybe Jay. I don't know.
Maybe Jay.
Yeah, I did see that today that Jay has the only person to have more #1 albums than Jay-Z or the Beatles or vice versa.
He's a fucking monster. And he was you know, a lot of his career was before the record industry like kind of tanked.
Yeah. He So, who are you listening to right now? Like, who do you have in rotation?
Like I said, I was listening to that Buddy album or EP the last couple days. Let me see. Let me open up my Spotify.
Yeah, I feel like this says a lot about a person. What kind of music
I've been just for some filler.
Speaking of Bieber, I was full disclosure listening to a Bieber song.
I was listening to Deja Vu.
Despacito remix.
It was off the. Do you remember when he was putting out Lucy's like every week, and then he put them into an album?
No,
he had one with Chance. He did one with.
I remember the one. I remember a song with Chance.
He did one with R. Kelly.
What? I didn't know that.
And it was crazy.
He's kind of smart. Yeah. The way he's been branding himself, because like he's been associating himself with hip hop a lot more lately. And so kind of like I feel like he's tapping into both markets, because like at first, you know, people obviously they hate on Bieber because, you know, he's a heartthrob and yada yada.
Yeah, and he's kind of
now, like you said,
he makes some great music.
I liked him on Deja Vu with Post Malone. I thought that was a good track for him.
Oh, I love that track. Yeah, I love that song. I've definitely listened to that a lot.
I've been listening to a dude named Goldlink a lot lately. I don't know if you've heard of him from DC.
Yeah, I know Goldlink.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, when you say we have to check, right? We never had a guest of your caliber on. When you say you know Goldlink.
Oh, no,
like you've dapped him up, or like what's?
Yeah, no. I've never met Goldlink. Sorry. Khaled or Khalid?
Okay.
Location.
Yeah, I like him.
Rocking the shaved head and the big beard, bringing it back.
Yep. Definitely Anderson .Paak is like pretty.
Oh my god, you need to talk some sense, dude. I was trying to get him to do What is the name of his most Malibu? I was trying to get Malibu on this podcast so many weeks, and then we finally got it. And I'm like, how do you not think "Room in Here" is like one of the greatest R&B, sort of hip hop R&B inspired tracks in the past like couple years?
Yeah, his album is incredible. I really like Anderson .Paak. The Internet, I love The Internet.
I'm only familiar with that one song of theirs.
They're great.
What is that song I showed you, Alex?
Want to Get Away.
Get Away, whatever.
Yeah. Special Affairs.
And they're like a branch. They're not feature branch in a way.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And then,
but I was listening to that Thundercat album when it came out.
So were you big into the Awaken My Love, sort of childish?
Oh yeah, I love that shit, man. I've been waiting on a video from Hiro Murai and Donald Glover for something off that project, but I guess they're working on Atlanta, so that's probably more important.
Well, and also apparently Donald's doing, what else is he doing? He's doing something else, right? He's executive. No, he's executive producing something. It just got announced the other day.
I don't know.
Oh, it was the it was the Deadpool. It was the Deadpool.
Yeah,
cartoon.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, that's another like Kanye West type figure where like I just is good at everything apparently.
Yeah, when we came on,
I don't know, there's just
the after Awaken My Love dropped, I came on mad because I was like, fuck, I want him to be bad at something. This is not cool anymore. How good he is at shit. I think the only thing that I think he does that I'm not a huge fan of is his stand up. I don't know.
I saw his stand up when I was in college. Actually, I thought it was really.
Oh,
funny.
really? I don't know. It just didn't hit with me.
I can't remember what he said, but
yeah.
But
the guy is just so talented.
Yeah, he's incredible, man. It's amazing what he's been doing.
So what's your 10 of an album? Because like we said earlier, our both of us think Graduation and 2014 are probably our 2 10s, and then I put My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy as like a 9.5.
Yeah.
It's as far as up there. But what would your favorite album or albums of all time be? As far as like you think the best you've ever heard?
Miseducation is definitely a 10.
From Lauryn Hill.
Yep. I would say probably Frank by Amy Winehouse is a 10.
Okay. Because I was thinking Is a Real Boy by Say Anything is my 10 outside of hip hop. I don't know if if you've ever heard of Say Anything.
Wow. I have, but I'm not that familiar with them.
They have their Say Anything out, or there Is a Real Boy, the one with the album covers like the stick with the leaf growing out of it. That is a great album. I don't know if it's pretty old. I think it's like, it's real old at this point. It might be an 06 album, but that album is sweet. I love that album. That's they're the first band I ever went and saw live.
Wow.
Yeah. I
also think Oxymoron is way up there for me.
Oh, Schoolboy?
Because we saw Schoolboy live with Isaiah.
I'm sure he's great, yeah.
That's the most lit concert I've ever been to in my life.
And then that was more lit than Chance, because we saw Chance right after Ultralight Beam came out, and he played it for us. And that was crazy.
Yeah, it was cool because I don't know if you ever go watch concerts when like people aren't as big as they are now. Like obviously Schoolboy Q's like selling out, 8,000, 10,000 seat arenas, but at the time it was like a 2,000. It
was like 1,000 people. Like it was a mosh pit, really.
Yeah,
more than anything.
It was a tiny little venue in Charlotte called South Amos.
Yeah, I know that place.
Yeah, it was lit.
Closed down.
Did it close down?
It just closed down. Yeah.
They weren't. You should have seen. They weren't getting the talent. Like actually,
it was all cover bands. That's what they were getting.
Right after Schoolboy Q, they had a streak. They had like Vince and then Earl, like Vince Staples and Earl Sweatshirt right back to back after that. Yeah, and this was this was right after
early 2014.
Yeah, so Vince would have put out Summertime of 06. No. I think he would have put out Summertime at this point, wouldn't he? I think it was,
but sometime around there.
Yeah, no, they had some serious artists there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But real quick before we let you go, Scott, I want to ask: do you watch basketball?
Yeah. I'm not heavy into it. I like to play basketball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scott, by the way, for those that don't know, Scott is tall as fuck. Alex is 6'2". Scott, you're like 6'4" or something.
6'4", yeah.
You dunk?
Man, I should, but no, I can't. The short answer to that question.
The short answer to that question is no.
It's a touchy subject for me right now.
It's not as touchy as you and the rims, but it's a touchy subject.
Yeah, good one.
I mean, to be fair, I can't dunk either, so I don't know.
That remark is the last time we got Scott on.
Yeah, I was gonna like touch him for a second, and then I was like, I can't dunk either. But yeah, that's funny. I got a guy I know who's like 6'6", and I can't stop giving him shit about it though. I'm like, okay, I'm 6'2", you can complain to me, but you're 6'6", I need you to be able to dunk because there's no way that
motherfuckers be able to reach up
to dunk
and get on his tiptoes and dunk.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of basketball, but I will definitely be watching this finals.
Oh yeah.
Have you watched any of the playoffs leading up to this?
A little bit. They've just been like annihilations, so it's like.
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to catch the one game where Boston beat Cleveland in Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't watch that, but that was crazy.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. But speaking of the finals, though, who's your prediction? You got Golden State or the Cavs?
It seems like Golden State has it, but
it also seeed like they had it in the past when they haven't.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. But now they have Kevin Durant, which maybe. I don't know. I want the Cavs to win, personally. Yeah. I love LeBron. I think he's great. He's the best ever. And I want him to get everything. I just want him to get all the accolades. Yeah.
I think he's going to retire as the best ever.
Damn, that'd be crazy. If he won this one and then retired, that'd be
I think that dude is a bull, man. He's not retiring after this one if he wins.
Nah, it's incredible to watch him play, man. He's just incredible. I also like you guys fuck with LeBron, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. I don't understand the LeBron hate unless it's just
the flopping,
anger or jealousy.
No, it's the flopping.
Okay, all right. The flopping. But everybody flops.
Yeah. Does everyone? Does Russell Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony flop?
Russell Westbrook does not flop. You're right about that.
Yeah, he's a whole nother, like, you can't compare people to Westbrook because he's like a Kevin Garnett, right? Like, just a player who would rather die than lose, and I feel like it's rare to find those kind of players. Like, Russell Westbrook seems like the type of dude who, like, if you played bad, would Michael Jordan you and punch you,
Yeah.
Like, I need you to step your shit up. But LeBron, this will be his 7th straight final appearance.
Yeah, it's incredible, man.
Which is insane. Incredible. Yeah, and it does bug me that people are like, well, Jordan had 6 rings. I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do? Like, I mean, I understand it's a 6 or 5 or some shit like that. But it's like, I think people just hate on LeBron because he's great. I think that just simply comes with like,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's I think I equate it to like Drake hate, right? I hate it because it's funny.
Yeah. Well, I think some people don't like Drake's voice.
Yeah, that's true. I think some people maybe can get Drake on the fake thing, like his Ellen appearance.
Yeah, and that too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I think LeBron, LeBron feels genuine. I think one of the things that LeBron did well was like got famous, got the hate, and then handled it real well, and was just like, I'll just be a good person until everyone talks about how good of a person I am. Like, I'll do my charity programs, I'll do this, I'll be the coolest dude I could be. I'll be a good dad. Like, I'll be that guy.
Yeah. He's great.
We need one hot take from you before you go, Scott. Do you think Drake has ghostwriters?
Oh my God.
Man, I have no idea.
Scott, would you like to work yourself out of any other work in the future?
Out of a job. Yeah.
Would you like to alienate yourself from the industry anymore?
Yeah. I really don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are people that give him ideas, and I don't see anything wrong with that.
It seems so easy to get writer credit, though. It feels like I've seen people get like, do you remember the Busta Rhymes Twerk It song, that weird one where he was like in the Jamaican accent the whole time? Yeah, there are like 9 writers on that song. And it's and when you watch the behind this.
Well, some of those might be samples.
Yeah, well, when you watch behind the scenes, Pharrell is there hanging out, and he's like, "Do it like this," and he like kind of like gives him the cadence to do it with, and then Pharrell gets a writer credit, and so you're like,
right?
I mean, if that's as easy as it is to get a writer credit, then you gotta question the validity of some of them writer credits, Yeah.
Well, I think that bothers me in hip hop that people like that's such a big issue, as you were saying. Like they're like, does Drake have a ghostwriter? I'm like, he's written songs for other people. You know, it's not like, I don't know. I feel like music is music in the sense that like
it's an attempt to discredit him.
Yeah,
you know?
and Drake certainly.
The truth is that. Yeah, I mean, I remember I read this article once about like, you know, this subject, and one thing that I can't remember where I read it or who the author was, but one thing that they brought up was you know, no matter who's writing it, ultimately the performer, the artist, the you know, the vocalist, whatever, gets in a booth, and that sound that they make with their voice, you know, hits people in a certain way. And I think that's true definitely of like, you know, Rihanna or Beyonce or Anderson .Paak, you know, like when you hear like their voices, you know, immediately it's them, you know?
Yeah.
Right when they first, you know, the first note that they hit.
Yeah. And it's not like Drake's making like J. Cole concept albums, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And there are a million people who could try to do exactly what he's doing just from a performance standpoint and fall short, you know, not be as good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I couldn't rap all me as well as Drake could.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, all that shit.
Speaking of which, the J. Cole Drake collab of the Jodeci freestyle, have you heard of that?
Yeah.
That was my shit. I feel like
that was cool.
Go ahead.
I like that. Yeah, I just like that song.
Yeah, I would love to hear more tracks from them too. Obviously, I don't want to hear like a collab album, but I feel like when they both rap, they can rap their fucking asses off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, we really appreciate you being on the show. I know it's run a little long, and we appreciate you sticking it out. Hopefully, we're not cutting into your day too much. No,
man, it's cool. Just you know, getting things together. I got a wedding for my cousin in New Orleans this weekend.
Oh, so cool. Just congratulations to them.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, is there anything you want to plug before you go?
Millions of fans.
Exactly.
No, I don't really have anything to plug.
I actually got a request real quick, and this is in the way of plugging.
Yeah.
Skedaddle.
Mm-hmm.
That's
my Twitter.
Where does this come from?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like for things like that, like my Instagram is Salamanderella. Mm-hmm. My business company is Salmo Cuts. Like I just like when I have to form names for these things, I just like come up with it in the moment. And it's like some variation of my name, you know, that sounds like something else, just kind of like I don't know.
Yeah.
They're just words.
Well, in that case, it's Skedaddle Twitter, and you said the Instagram just then, and
Salamander.
I'm sure we'll be
like Salamander and Cinderella.
You gotta.
It's funny when you think about it, right? Because
it's just, you know, why would those two things go together? They wouldn't, but they do.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I'm like, because I searched you on Instagram, I'm like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, okay, that's him. I guess. So.
Yeah. Well,
that's cool. So you also have a Vimeo account, right? So check out the videos on.
Yeah, my Vimeo got fucking suspended because
HBO probably, right?
This is fucked up, man. They've been coming after people. A lot of directors have been, you know, posting about this. Like, there's I think it's, I don't know the governing body, but they've been like pulling music videos down left and right, like shit that directors spend a ton of time, probably lose money on, you know, and put their heart and soul into, and they get taken down even when they have permission from the artist, the label, whatever, to post it on their Vimeo. So anyway, like they've all been Cole tracks. They took down my Apparently video. They took down a few of them, and it's just like,
is it like from Vimeo, or is it like process. Vimeo itself?
No, it's another. Vimeo's taking it down, but it's because of a claim issued by another organization the name of which is escaping me.
Is it not like some? That's weird. Not like some algorithm, like the publisher is just picking up the fact that you've uploaded apparently, and they don't know it's you.
I'm sure it's it. They have programs that can search like you know waveforms and scan waveforms and make connect.
Yeah, and they're like, this is our track, and we don't know that it's Scott.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that
exactly.
happened to me 2 nights ago before on Tuesday night, because I saw the Apparently video on Vimeo, and then obviously I watched a documentary on like YouTube and stuff like that. But I was clicking on your other videos, and it was like not found, and then I went on the page and it was pulled, and I was like, oh, okay, that must. I was just thought like something was going on,
up.
but I was like, no.
Yeah, because Vimeo seems like
so fucked
Vimeo
up.
seems like a place for like the creator, because Vimeo obviously not the traction of YouTube.
Yeah, filmmakers. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fucked up.
Yeah, the Apparently video I had on there had a lot of views on it too.
Well, I think that one's up because I think that one's playable, but
it's on YouTube.
No, it's on YouTube, but I'm saying on
is
my
it not
page.
on Vimeo right now? Because I saw the thumbnail when we were on
nothing on. If it is, it might be somebody else posted it.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, that's fucked up, man. I wonder what the solution is to that. I wonder if. Because
it's like an appeals process, but it takes like a lot of time.
Yeah, because I've heard about on YouTube you having to like contest claims takes forever. I imagine it's a similar sentence for like Vimeo. Well, shit. Yeah, well, anyway, check Scott's Vimeo out. He should the videos that are up there
when it's back.
Well, I think you're up now because I was just on it right before we started chatting, and I was watching a video on your Vimeo 2 days ago.
Yeah, same here with it. Apparently, I think Apparently still up.
Yeah,
it's just the other ones are still up, but when you click on them, it just says page not found.
The documentary. So the Boz documentary works. We know that for sure. The Clouds video works. The Cause video works. I think Ricochet might not, and then I think Eyes works because Eyes is on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, Scott's everywhere. Scott's on HBO. I mean, you'll see him on your TV. Yeah. But yeah, check his Vimeo out, check his Twitter out, check his Instagram out. And it was a lot of fun, man. I hope we can do this again sometime.
Sure.
It'd be super.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Super cool to hear about the road life, maybe mid tour, how it's going, things like that. Give us the update. But we understand you're probably busier than all hell during that time. But yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah,
man.
it's about to get nuts, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, good luck. Enjoy the in and out while you can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, if you like the show, follow us on whatever Factually Incorrect Podcast. We're on everything except for Twitter, Podcast FI. That's the only handle we had to deal with. And thanks again for Scott coming on. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we get to chat with him soon. And if you guys liked it, be sure to hit him up on Twitter. Tell him you liked it. Hit us up on Twitter. Tell us you liked it. If you have any more guests you want us to bring on, by all means, let us know. Thank you, Scott, for being here.
Yeah. Yeah, don't tweet Scott again getting all heated he didn't come on the podcast.
Yeah.
And the next album review we're gonna do is Buddy LA EP.
We're gonna do that EP.
Yeah,
definitely.
Cool, man.
Yeah, shout out. Thank you so much. Man.
Yeah, guys, have a good day.
You too. Peace.
Bye.
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 You too.